Welcome to our webinar today, which is ServiceNow, a viable successor to SAP SolMan. My name is Alena Säuberlich, and I will introduce you to our two speakers in 1 minute. Just for your information, we will record this webinar as always, and it will be sent to you afterwards. And if you have any questions, you can use the question tool in GoToWebinar and send it to us, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. There will be enough time for this. And if we have not enough time, we will send all the questions and answers to you later via mail. So now we will start. I will introduce you to our two speakers today. And on one hand, we have Tamás Holics, which is CEO of STA Technologies. Hi, Tamás.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
And Tamás will show you how you can get the most out of your ServiceNow and work more efficiently with it. And the second speaker today is Alexander Frei, which is our senior consultant from REALTECH. And hi, Alex.
Morning.
He will present an approach how you can meet the end of SolMan with our with your ServiceNow and in combination with our software. So I will give the screen to Alex.
Agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about the SolMan end of life. So what happens now? What is the current situation for you, and what do we have like an alternative for customers which are using Solution Manager, and especially the change request management of it. So let's start with a little history. What are the facts? As you might know, Solution Manager, the famous tool, a collection of tools, content, and services to support implementation and operation of enterprise applications. It has a long history. It's in use since 2004 in the first version. And in last year, in summer 2023, SAP announced the end of life of it by 2027. There might be possibility to extend the maintenance until 2030, but then definitely the end is near. And this is the current situation. We saw also in our customers that not all of SAP customers are even aware of it. So the information is spreading out slightly. But now many customers which are using the Solution Manager are not sure how they want to proceed with it, what's the next solution or the successor solution. And therefore, we have now a look into the options, what SAP will offer and what is the strategy here. There are some options available. It's Cloud ALM, but it is not perceived as a full successor regarding or in terms of features. And it's not recommended as a comprehensive replacement, especially for Solution Manager with its broad functionality. And many companies are now like don't know what to do or are not sure what to do. At the same time, the SAP makes pressure regarding the cloud-only strategy. So they want to incentive the customers to move to the cloud. And on the other side, there are still many customers which are using the Solution Manager and the scenarios there, especially the change request management combined with the IT service management to control their deployment when it comes to changes, development changes in the landscape. yeah, this is why customers now have to look out for alternatives. And here is one interactive part in the webinar where we just want to hear or to get your current situation. There's a little survey. Alena will now blend it in. So it would be nice if you just could give us your vote, and then we can see, yeah, what is the current situation on your side. So would be good. So Alena, hopefully now
I sent the questions. Could you see them? Okay. Thank you for your answers. I will close it now. And I can show you the results. So, Alex, can you see the results, or should I give a short overview?
I cannot see it. I don't know if the participants key, maybe you can give us a short overview. But I see that the results indicate that a big portion of our audience is either not clear about the situation, what they want to do, or they are now actively searching or looking for alternatives already. So
we have, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, little bit covers our impression which we have with our customers and other surveys we saw regarding SAP strategy. Yeah, the commitment or the adoption rate is not as high for the moment, so there's pretty much room for alternatives or intermediate solutions. Yeah, I think this covers pretty much it. Also, our impression regarding what we have seen in our customer area.
So we can see here 44% we are already looking for an alternative solution, and we have 39% we don't know yet how we should or want to proceed, and 17% we will integrate SAP processes into other ITSM solutions.
Okay.
Okay, I will take it back and you can go on.
Okay, can you see my screen again?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Yes, thank you for your time. Yeah, as I said, there's room for alternatives, and let's present you a possibility in our case. We think that the most effective solution to move from the Solution Manager change request part to something else is to use external ITSM tools like ServiceNow to replace the change management part, and for the technical deployment when it comes to SAP transports, use other tools. So in our example, REALTECH has the tool transport management, which can be integrated with any other service management tool like ServiceNow Jira via web service. And then you could control all the changes from one place. Let's say you have the ServiceNow, you have your incidents or your tickets, and then you could directly control the whole deployment from there. And also what will then, the second part of the webinar, Tamás will show you are to optimize the ITSM processes in the third-party tool with additional add-ons. But let's start with the first part. So charming alternative, I give you a little background story. So this was last year where we had a customer. They had Solution Manager in place with the change request management, and the ITSM scenario was used. And they searched for an alternative, so they wanted to go away from SAP actually, and therefore we offered them the combination from out of Smart Change and the ITSM tool. And Smart Change is like the SAP add-on technical deployment of transports, which can run independently. There's no need for additional systems like Solution Manager. And for all the data, so like the ticket data from Solution Manager, we had to find a way to move it, to migrate it to the other tool. So we used our ready-to-run extractor tool to migrate the change data from ChaRM to the ITSM tool. And then finally, we connected the existing ITSM tool with the transport management tool to control the whole workflow from one single place. So how does this look in practice? I give you now a little insight in the tool. So first of all, we have a so-called integration framework, which can be used to connect various ITSM solutions to our transport management tool via standard web services. So we use a REST API or data web services, and then we can integrate with those different ITSM tools where we have out-of-the-box add-ons, for example, for ServiceNow, which can be used to integrate. So what's the core issue? There might be like the change management department where there is a specific process, and on the other side there is the SAP deployment, which has also its kind of life cycle. But if they are not communicating with each other, you might run into issues because there's no alignment or adjustment. You might, for example, organize the changes with an Excel spreadsheet or use emails or phone calls to align the two sides, but it's always prone to errors, it's time consuming, and it's not really transparent. So the approach is to use the bidirectional integration to reduce these risks, and how it looks like we will show you now. So first of all, when it comes to transports, the first point of integration can be that you are in SAP system, you want to create a transport, and then with the integration, you have the option to call via webhook the available tickets, for example, in ServiceNow, and directly assign the transport to the ticket before you create it or before you release it. So you have a clear link between SAP change and a change management process in the tool. And then you can see in ServiceNow, for example, there is a special tab which will contain all the information regarding the transports, including transport number, description, and other parameters which are specific to the transport management workflow. For example, you see the project, the destination, the transport level, and the systems, and you see whether it has already been imported or not. And as I said, it's a bidirectional integration. That means by clicking the little window here, you get a second frame where you then can also actively control the transport. That means you could create transports from there, you can release it, and you can also approve it. So it's possible to have like a full change management workflow, which includes the incident until the transports are created and deployed in one tool. So users don't have to necessarily jump to SAP to manage the transports. And this can pretty much replace the whole ChaRM functionality, the combination between ITSM and the SAP add-on. In SAP, it looks like this. If you are familiar with transport management, there is the option to display additional columns to directly show which ticket number is assigned to the transports, and you can even click it, and there's a hyperlink which will lead you directly to the respective ITSM ticket. So this is basically how the tools work together regarding the transport management. Maybe we give you a quick overview about the core functionalities, just if you don't know it yet. We have our own workflows. So this means that we can define flexibly who is responsible for the transports, who can approve them and move them, and also who will get notified. That means, for example, after an import or when someone has to approve transports, they will get an email to notify it. Then we have some, let's call it proactive technical checks to ensure high quality of deployments, like critical objects. So sequencing means overtakers, collisions, overwriter detection. You can also define dependencies between transports, and you can even do a prediction and use a feature. It's called return code forecast to check transports before actually they are getting imported. Third part is then the automated deployment. That means the tool will schedule batch jobs, which will cover the imports in the target systems. Let's say 95% of the time, the system queue is used, which will deploy the regular transports. And there's also an additional option to use the personal queue for special circumstances. So for example, if there's an urgent correction or like an emergency transport, user can also use this personal queue to do like a pre-import. So this is the three basic pillars the tool works with. And let's talk about the configuration real quick. It's really simple. All you need to do is define some transport levels, destinations, and projects. And this is the whole configuration in the tool. Transport levels just means how many tiers you have, how it's the name, development, quality assurance, and production. The destinations will reflect the transport routes. So as you know it in STMS, so the systems and clients which are as target, defined as target. And with the projects, you would define responsibilities or workflows. So for example, here we have SAP modules. This could be something else. It just defines who's responsible and how many approval steps are there and what automation rules will apply for a specific workflow. And all is covered with an authorization object, which can be customized, where you can select what can be done from which user. Out of the box, workflows can look like this. For example, this is an easy one. There's a developer which will release a transport. Before releasing, actually, you can already assign it to a ticket. And after release, transport can then directly be imported to the quality assurance system. Afterwards, an email is triggered to a group of testers, which can then perform their tests in the quality assurance system. And then the transport has to be approved. In this case, it's a two-step approval. That means there's a second set of eyes. First is the tester, and second can be like a manager or sub-basis admin, for example. When he or she does the final approval, the transport then can be moved to production. And those approvals and all those steps, as I said, can be done in the SAP add-on directly in SAP or via the integration also in ServiceNow. This workflow can be modified freely based on the requirement, based on the project, based on workflows and people involved. So it's just like a template, but you can modify it, of course. Let's talk a little bit about what could be a potential project plan. One benefit of the solution is that it can be implemented relatively fast and easy. Usually it takes only a few weeks to go live. Potentially you could have like a kickoff in the first week, set up the requirements and talk about the parties involved. In the second week, you could already start the implementation. This includes the transport management tool and also the ITSM integration. And at the same time, you could even start to migrate the change documents from the ChaRM to the ITSM tool to ServiceNow. In the third week, you could do tests and prepare the go live. So you can test your transport routes, check your approvals, and check whether all roles are specified and assigned to the users which are critical. And then you could already go live after 3 weeks. So as I said, it's very fast to implement, and you can go live really quick. And this pretty much sums up my part. Just to give you like a little recap. Basically, the part one is the implementation of Smart Change and the extractor tool, the tool to migrate the data. Second step is then the actual migration and integration. So means that the ChaRM data is transferred to the ITSM tool. And the third, the last step is then the documentation. That means you can validate your data. You go live with the new solution, and you have still the archive of the existing Solution Manager documents and information you want to keep. That's it for my part. Thank you very much. And then I give over to Alena again, and then we will go on with the next part.
Thank you, Alex. This was a very good and short overview. And now, as we talked at the beginning, I will give the word to Tamás, and he can show you everything about ServiceNow and effectively working with it.
All right, so I will start with a very quick introduction of the company. So we're based in Budapest, Hungary. We are an SAP Silver partner as well as a ServiceNow partner. Our focus is on building SAP integration solutions, especially packaged software products that are easy to implement. We have no focus on any industry or any geography, as you can see from the next slide. So these are the customers who use the solution that I will present you today, which is called the ITSM connector for SAP. And let's check out how incident management is usually done if you use Solution Manager ITSM to manage SAP incidents. Essentially, all your SAP systems will be connected via RFC to the central Solution Manager system, where apart from a lot of different modules, there's a dedicated IT service management module where you can manage incidents. So from the end user perspective, whenever a user runs into an issue in SAP, they have to go to the help menu in the SAP GUI and press the create support message button. Then the standard pop-up window will appear where you can enter short and the long description, select priority, and that's it. So it's super basic, but essentially after you press the button, an incident is created in Solution Manager. So the future looks like this. Sooner or later, you will have to replace Solution Manager ITSM. Most likely, you will choose ServiceNow. Actually, about 80% or 85% of our customers use ServiceNow. So that's the biggest, best enterprise ticketing tool. And actually, it's much more than a ticketing tool already. So, but the process is the same, and the ITSM connector works the same way with any ITSM platform on the market. So essentially, your SAP systems will be connected directly to the ITSM platform that you choose or that you already have. Again, those will be RFC destinations. Only it's going to be an HTTP type. And then the great thing is that you don't have to train your end users to do something differently, because you can still go to the help menu, still press the create support message as usual. But then a different screen will pop up, which will be the main screen of the ITSM connector. I will have a larger screenshot later on in the slide deck, so don't worry. Basically, this is a super customizable screen that will allow you to put any fields as you wish in there. And then when you press the send button here, the ticket is going to be created in your ITSM platform of your choice. Okay, And you might have one question related to the successor of Solution Manager, which is Cloud ALM, but that's not an alternative here because that is not going to have an ITSM module, so you will not be able to do incident management in Cloud ALM. Okay, so apart from the SolMan end of life, there are a couple of oh, sorry, there's another slide before the next one. So essentially the same thing will work with Fiori. So if you take a look at the left screenshot there, you can see the standard Solution Manager pop-up that users can use, where there's basically a single field where they can enter a long description, which is anyway not that long. It's truncated after 60 characters, and that creates a SolMan ticket. And on the right, you have an example implementation of the ITSM connector that we have with different drop-down menus or fields. You can attach screenshots and or any other file and so on. So it's going to be much better with Fiori as well. So coming back to the further reasons why we've developed this SAP add-on is that there are some typical pain points related to supporting SAP systems. The first one is the poor quality of incoming tickets. That means end users enter very little information into the error descriptions, and then the support teams have to spend a lot of time to get back in touch with the end user, pick up the phone, write emails, and so on to get the required information that is needed in order to reproduce the problem. So unless you have everything, you can't reproduce the problem and obviously can't start working on a solution. The next one is related to this. You need to manually route and categorize your incidents based on that very little information that you get from the end user. And this often leads to reassigning the ticket to different support teams, maybe multiple times. And with each ticket reassignment, you lose a lot of time, almost 2 hours on average. The next one is the high number of duplicate incidents. So imagine you have a high impact problem in your system, which affects 1,000 users or 100 users. Then you might get a lot of emails or phone calls to your service desk, and you have to manage everything manually. And the last one is related to knowledge bases. A lot of companies spend time and money on building good knowledge bases, and they fill it up with SAP articles meant for end users, but the end users don't really use it. They don't open a browser window, don't go to the portal, don't search the knowledge base, and then just waste of time and money to build it. And of course, a missed opportunity to reduce the number of tickets. Okay, so these are the main reasons why we've came up with the ITSM connector, which is a certified ABAP add-on, SAP add-on. So essentially, you need to install it on the SAP system, like S/4HANA or ECC or whatever that runs on ABAP. And then it allows SAP users to create tickets directly out of the SAP GUI or Fiori apps. We also have ServiceNow app, which has the same name, and it's certified by ServiceNow. That's an optional component of the integration, but if you install it, then you will have an out-of-the-box SAP incident dashboard on the ServiceNow side and further additional features. Okay, so let's take a look how the incident management process will look like with the ITSM connector. Super straightforward. When the user runs into an error, they just need to press a button right there in SAP, and then the ITSM connector is going to create the ServiceNow ticket, and also it will attach all information that is required to reproduce the problem. You will have all the system details, transaction details, user details. You will have screenshots, an authorization report, the screen contents, and so on. So you'll be able to immediately start working on a solution. And moreover, the usual setup is that you have one support team per SAP module that you use at your company. So you might have a finance team, and MM team, and so on. And based on any system detail or any other criteria, the ITSM connector can directly assign the ticket to the relevant team. So for example, based on the transaction code or the module or the exact error message, it's super easy to set up a rule set that will assign the ticket to the relevant team. So basically, all incidents created with the ITSM connector will land on the desk of the relevant team, having all the relevant information, so they don't have to get back to the end user and they can start working on a solution immediately. It's important that the ITSM connector works with any ticketing tool on the market, but ServiceNow is by far the most popular among the enterprise customers. So let's check a few screenshots, how it looks. So this is a screenshot of an S/4HANA transaction, and you can see at the bottom that there is an error message. The posting period is not open, so I want to get help. I need to go to the help menu and press the create support message menu item. That's the menu item of Solution Manager, but if you install our ITSM connector, then it's going to be redirected, and instead of a SolMan ticket, a ServiceNow ticket is going to be created. But first, it asks for a confirmation to take a screenshot. So unless this is a sensitive HR transaction where you have the salaries or something, you will allow the program to take a screenshot, and then the main screen appears where you can enter a subject and a long description. And the bottom part is highly configurable. We deliver a few templates. This is one of them where you have the urgency and the support team, the assignment group. But we can customize this for you. We can have checkboxes, radio buttons, drop downs, or hyperlinks, or whatever here at the bottom part. So when the user presses the send button, the SAP add-on creates the incident in ServiceNow and uploads some attachments. Additionally, you get the success message with the ticket number, and by pressing the open button, you can check out the new incident in a browser window displayed in the portal. Okay, and there the process stops from the ITSM connector perspective. Whatever workflows or email notifications you have in your ServiceNow platform, those are going to be triggered, and everything will be just as usual. So let's check out the details of the incident. So the big benefit here is that all fields are set according to the rules that you define. In our demo landscape, we set the category to software, subcategory to SAP. There's a business service selected. You have a configuration item, which is the system from which you submit the ticket usually. Then the open, by, and caller fields are set to the SAP user based on the email address or based on the username. You can have a dedicated channel, so you can see that this ticket was sent out of SAP and not created based on a phone call, for example. You have the master data automatically filled here. The ticket is assigned to the relevant team, so this was created out of a finance transaction, and that's why it's assigned to the finance team. Here you have all the user input. Okay, so categorization and routing is fully automated. The second benefit is here at the top. You can see attachments. In this example, we have 4 attachments. There can be up to 20 different kinds, depending on the user interface from which you create the ticket or the problem that the user faces, but these are the most typical ones. Here you have an Excel sheet with the contents of the field, of the fields displayed on the screen. So you will know what the material number was the user working with, or sales document. You will know what the company code was, the posting date, whatever business data you need to reproduce the problem, you will have it there attached. You will have a PDF file with system user details. You will have an authorization report, which is the output of the standard SU53 transaction, and you will have the screenshot that is taken automatically. So I believe we have a few screenshots of these later on, but let's go on to this one where you can see information saved to ServiceNow. So as I mentioned, we have a ServiceNow app, which is on the ServiceNow store. And if you install that, then you have basically all this data saved to custom ServiceNow tables. For example, you can see that this ticket was created out of transaction FB50. This was the program name, screen number, subscreen number, status. This was the title line, and so on. Here you can see the screen field contents. So in this program, this screen, this field, which is the document date, was the specific date. This was the company codes, the currency. You have everything here that you need to reproduce the problem. You can see that there are a lot of tab sheets here. So you have details about the last message, the application server, the host, the database, user details, and so on. Really, it's a full information package. Here is an example of a PDF attachment. So for example, if you don't use ServiceNow, you use Jira, let's say, for managing incidents, then this PDF is going to contain all this information that you've seen in the previous slide. So here again, you can see the transaction details, program details. Here you have the last error message, message class, number, type, even the source code position where this message was sent to the user. And this one is an example of some customization. So you can see that the bottom part of the screen is totally different. This customer wanted to have a radio button group here, and depending on the selected button, a different ticket type is created in ServiceNow. So the first one creates an incident, the third one creates a service request, and the second one creates something that they developed on their own. So it's a custom ticket type. And depending on the selection here, you have different drop-down fields that the user can select. So it's totally customizable according to your requirements. This one is an example of an embedded knowledge-based search. You remember one of the pain points was that even if you create a lot of knowledge articles with SAP content, if your end users don't use it, it's just a waste of time. So when you start the ticketing, the ticket creation process, the add-on can automatically perform a knowledge-based search and display the related knowledge-based articles at the bottom. If you enter something in the subject and hit enter, then the subject will also be part of the search criteria. Otherwise, it's the current transaction code by default. And by double-clicking on the knowledge-based article here, then it's displayed in a browser window, so the user can check out what to do, and quite possibly they will not create a ticket but solve the problem on their own. So it works pretty much the same way from Fiori. At the top, you can see a Fiori application where you have this extra button to create a ticket, and you also have that on the launchpad. And if you press that, then you will have a similar screen where you have a subject and description and all the custom fields that you want to have. You can again upload any file, take screenshot, and so on. And when you press the send button, the same thing will happen. The SAP add-on component creates the ticket in ServiceNow, displays you this success message. You can open the ticket in a browser window with that button. And in case of Fiori, we'll have actually 3 additional attachments: the console entries from the browser, an Excel sheet with a lot of different Fiori-specific details and checks, and another system diagnostic log related to Fiori. And I believe, yeah, here the next slide shows you the Fiori details in ServiceNow. So here you have the header where you have the system ID, the component, the client, the user ID, and this tab sheet contains the Fiori-specific details like, okay, was it a mobile device, a tablet, or a desktop computer from which you created the incident? This was the app ID, technical name, type, description, version number, and so on. And you have all the details of the environment, like the UI5 versions, URLs, the platform, the theme, the browser. So again, you get a lot of details and a lot of help to troubleshoot issues. This is a screenshot of the SAP Incident Dashboard that comes pre-configured with our ServiceNow app. So you can use this data that you've seen. Anything that is saved to ServiceNow can be incorporated in your reports and dashboards, so you can see the number of incidents per system, per transaction, per module, per user, per Fiori application, or anything. It's super effective and simple. Okay, so let's talk about the problems that we tried to solve. You can see that we've solved the poor ticket quality with the automated data collection. You no longer need to route your incidents manually and categorize it manually. It's fully automatic. I haven't shown the duplicate management, but essentially the product can establish a parent-child relationship between similar incidents. So you can see on the ServiceNow side that the same thing affects maybe multiple users, and you can get a much better return on investment of your knowledge base by embedding the knowledge base search results in SAP. And the great thing coming from Solution Manager ITSM is that you can have all these benefits without having to retrain your users to use a different portal, to send an email to different email address or whatever. They can use the existing process, go to the help menu, press the create support message button as usual, and they can create ServiceNow or any other tickets from now on. Okay, so let's take a look at a few case studies that we've made with customers who use this solution. The first one is with the Carl Zeiss AG in Germany, who reduced the average ticket resolution time by 50%. Uniper, also based in Germany, resolves the SAP incidents 24 hours earlier on average. Aegis is a pharma company based in Hungary. They have 12% less SLA breaches and have a 91% decrease in the number of ticket reassignments using the ITSM connector. Ostrom Pharma is, they could reduce the support team resources with 25% and also reduce manual reporting by about 2 days per month using that out-of-the-box ServiceNow dashboard. And Celsa Group, steel manufacturer based in Spain, 75% of their incidents are submitted using the ITSM connector. And that's actually most likely have increased since the case study because it was done 2 or 3 years ago. So I believe there are 2 more slides which explain why this really matters. There's a publicly available research paper out there where a lot of people were asked about the factors that affect the overall IT experience, and you can see that IT support services are by far the most important. So if you ask somebody, how happy are you with your IT? Basically, this is the most important factor. Coming to a bit more detail, this questionnaire was about IT incident experience, and here you can see that the speed of ticket resolution is probably the most important factor. So if you can speed up your SAP incident resolution times, then that's going to be a big impact on the overall employee experience. All right, so that was the end of my slide deck. Thank you very much. I will hand over back to Elena now.
Thank you, Tamás. So I will come back to the questions and answer part. So in the meantime, we get 1 or 2 questions from your side. We will answer them here, and you can use your time if you want to add in other questions. And after, we will put all the answers and questions together to the related topic. So we had 1 question. This was regarding the recording. As we mentioned, yes, we will record it, and you will get the slides from Alexander and from Tamás both, and you can get in touch with them if you're interested in some kind of demo or more information about the product, and we will send it to you. So Alex, I have 1 question for Smart Change. As I can see, what happened to transports in development or quality that are not imported to production yet?
Yes, thank you for the question. I already gave an answer. Like I understood the question. There might be 2 possible perspectives. Let's say an often asked question is what about transports which are released regularly, and then you want to switch to the solution and want to use TM with the integration, what can be done? We have some reports to load already existing transports into the workflow in a specific status, and then you can seamlessly use TM with also existing transports. 1 other question is regarding the connection to the ITSM ticket, the assignment, the link between transports and between the ticket. and therefore the integration framework has a so-called reassignment function where you can then assign transports which are already there to existing tickets, or you can reassign them from one ticket to another. So it's very flexible for transports which are already existing, and of course, if they have not been to production, they can move on in the workflow you decide and designed, and then can use the regular flow. So it's a seamless migration.
Thank you,
I think
Alex.
the other questions are more regarding the STA tool, as I saw it from the timestamp. So
yes, I think. One question for you, Tamás, is creation of tickets. Can this be limited to example key users only? Is there an authorization object linked to the creation of the tickets in SAP?
Yes, absolutely. So we use the standard SAP authorization framework, and we deliver roles, an end user role and a key user role. So you can definitely limit the people who can create tickets using the authorization concept.
Okay, thank you. There's another question for you. Does the SAP user create the tickets, which creates the ticket, need a user in Snow?
No. So there are different kind of users in ServiceNow. So they only need a user which you don't have to pay for. So it's not a ITIL user or a service desk user. So it doesn't mean any additional cost for you on the ServiceNow side.
Okay, and we have one question regarding the costs, and it is, what is the price of implementing this solution? Is there a license model? Is this user-based or ticket-based, or yeah?
The pricing is based on the number of SAP users. So we need the dialogue users, actually the people who use SAP, and the pricing is not linear. So the more and more users you have, the cheaper it gets. So if you can get in touch with us, we can provide you a quote. If you send us the number of approximate number of users you have, then we can provide a quote pretty quickly.
Yeah, you will get the contact informations to Tamás in the mail, and you can get in touch with him for this.
Perfect.
So we have another question. Is it necessary to open tickets via SAP, or does the SolMan solution also works with incidents that are only created in ServiceNow and do not come from SAP?
I'm not sure if I perfectly understand the question. So
I think the question is it necessary to open the ticket from SAP, or can they directly work with incidents in ServiceNow?
yeah, absolutely. So you will still have the usual channels that you set up in ServiceNow. User can submit a ticket on a portal or via email, and so on. So that's still there, but it's much better to open the tickets from SAP using the ITSM connector, because then all the benefits, the automatic routing, categorization, and all the attachments and then information provided.
We have another question. It's about, you talked about handling ITSM tickets and tips. And what about documentation, configuration documents, functional or technical specs? What is, I think, according to this, how can your solution handle this? I would think maybe of the knowledge base things, or
I'm not sure. This could also be a question to Alex, to how to migrate the documentation from SolMan. I'm not sure either, about the
Okay.
the question.
Maybe we can clarify it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we can also give you some documentation after the webinar, which will go into further detail about it. I think there's one question maybe we jumped over. It's the second question regarding the STMS.
You mean the prerequisite? Yes. Okay. And there is one question. It's a prerequisite to SAP transports that SAP transports are created in the SAP system via STMS.
Yes, that's also a good one. So you can decide. So basically, you have still your STMS configuration, but you don't really rely on it if you use transport management, because it has its own destination, which is pretty much the same like the transport route you have in SAP, but it's a different logic. It only relies on technical TP, but it's an independent logic. The only thing you need in the development system is a kind of it could be a dummy target where transports can be created. And then the tool takes over when transport is created or released via bodies. And this process can be done from the SAP system like regularly, or you can also trigger it from the ServiceNow. There is a web service to create transports from ServiceNow, so you don't have to log on into SAP.
Okay. I think, oh no, there is one question popping in just at the moment. It's about the ServiceNow integration, and is the contract between ServiceNow and SmartChange TM subscription based on numbers of users?
Yes, that's regarding the licensing model. As you might know, TM is based on the number of SIDs you are using. That means, for example, if you have like a tree system landscape classical, it's 3 SIDs per times the price you would pay, like subscription. For the integration in ServiceNow, it's a user-based model, yes.
Okay. Tamás, I think here is one for you again. Maybe one ticket is one incident, but what about service requests?
Yeah, so one typical example is that customers have a service catalog item in ServiceNow dedicated to authorization requests, which is also usually available through the ServiceNow portal. So the users can just log in there, fill a few fields, and then request authorization. But the problem with that is that the support teams will have no knowledge about the missing authorization. So if you create a ticket out of SAP using the ITSM connector, you will have the full SU53 output, so the standard authorization report. And more than that, a recent development is that the product will search for existing roles in your system that will provide the missing authorization to the user for the failed authorization checks. And then if you want to have, you can create a service request instead of an incident for such requests. So that's fully supported, very easy to set up. So the product is flexible. You can configure it in a way to create incidents or service requests based on the user selection.
Okay, thank you. We have another one, which is also for you, Tamás. Does the ITSM connector work with S/4HANA Cloud?
Yes, absolutely. The private cloud, so it's actually certified for S4 2023 private cloud. It does not work with public cloud, but that's anyway targeted towards smaller companies. So, and of course, all on-premise systems are supported as well.
Okay. And we have the second last one. does the solution integrate the ServiceNow CAP workbench on transport level? We have some in columns. SN standard only shows CHG. I hope you know what it means.
I'm a little bit not sure about this one.
Me too. I think, Alex, it's for you. Is it possible to create transport of copies out of the tool?
Yes, it is. So we have it's based on the TM side, the SAP add-on, where we integrate the TOC creation process and the deployment, and this can be triggered from outside. So that means it can be triggered by web service and also being used in ServiceNow.
Okay, and the last question I see is for Tamás, and it is, does it work with custom Z transactions?
Yes, absolutely. So all the standard and all the custom transactions are supported.
Okay. So there are no questions in the meantime. Thank you for your time. As we said, we will give you all the contact informations to get in touch with Alexander or with Tamás, that they can show their solutions in some kind of demos or give you more material as you wanted. Thank you for asking actively very interesting questions and taking the time for the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.